my channel. Today I have a little bit of a story time video for you. I want to share with all of you how I use the law of attraction to win a car. Yes, you heard me correctly. I use the law of attraction to actually win a car. So if you want to learn how to use the law of attraction to manifest really big things, watch this video. Let me share with you my story. Let's get going. Okay, so a little bit of the background to the story. This happened about 14 years ago, and at the time, I had my 14-year-old son. He was a newborn baby, and he had a lot of health conditions and medical issues, and so we needed two vehicles. My ex-husband needed a car so he could get back and forth to work, and then I needed to have my car so that I could take our son to all of his medical appointments and therapy appointments and things like that. He has autism, and he was going to therapy I think at that time 3 to 4 times a week. So we needed transportation. So we had two cars, and one day when my son was a couple months old, my ex-husband took him to the grocery store and came out, and his car was nowhere to be found. Someone had stolen his car. So we had only one car now, and there was no way we could make that work. Right about that same time, I had seen the movie The Secret, and I thought, okay, I'm going to give this a shot, right? Because what's the worst thing that could happen? It doesn't work. Okay, no big deal. So I had The Secret fresh in the back of my mind, and I was listening to the radio one day, and they had a, call in now, and whatever caller, like I think it was the ninth caller, wins something, and I didn't even know what the ninth caller won. So I just heard that and thought, okay, I figured it was like a CD or something, So I just called in, and lo and behold, I was the ninth caller. And they told me, okay, so everybody that called in today and qualifies gets entered into a daily drawing. And then that daily drawing, one person's drawn every day. That person wins an iPod. Everyone who wins an iPod gets put into a big drawing for the end of the month where they were giving away a car. Okay, so I was the ninth caller. I got entered into the drawing for the iPod. And that night, about 8 o'clock, I got a phone call. And it was the radio station. They were live on air, and they, asked if I was there, and they said, congratulations, you won the iPod, now you're in the drawing for this vehicle. And I just remember, crying, and just, at that point, I think in my heart I knew that that was the answer, that we had won a vehicle. I just knew it was my car, and everything was going to be okay. So I had about a month, right, between when I qualified to win this car and when the actual drawing happened. That time I drove a little Dodge Avenger, and I would drive that Avenger, and I would imagine that I was driving the car that I was in the contest for. The car that I was in the contest for was one of those Scion XBs when they first came out. The cars looked they used to look like toasters, like roller skates or whatever. Anyway, they were brand new. I think I had one of the first ones in my town. That's how, they weren't out yet. So, anyway, I'm jumping ahead. They called me and they told me that I won the iPod and that I was in the drawing for the car. And so I would, like I said, I would drive around, and in my mind, I was driving a Scion. And I would, look for them everywhere. And they were really hard to find at that point because they were so new. But there was a florist that their delivery vans were all the little Scion XBs. And so I would drive past that florist every single day to look at that car and to see what it would look like and kind of imagine what I would look like driving it. And I just did this every day, in my mind. There was no question that it was my car. It was mine. So the time passed, and it came time for the big drawing. So they had everyone go down to the radio station, and they had everybody on the radio, and they were filming the whole thing, and they did this thing that was basically like a reverse drawing. So if they drew your name, then you were out. So they did this until a crowd, I think there were 27 or 28 of us that were in the contest. And over the course of 4 hours, they would just slowly eliminate one by one. And it was really funny to me. I noticed that the radio personalities would come up and they would interview each person. And each person would say why they deserved it. And then it was instantaneous. Someone would say, well, I deserve this because I've been through this and this and this, and I deserve this. Boom, eliminated. And then they would go to the next person, and they would interview them, and then boom, that was the next person out. So I actually hid in the back of the crowd because I did not want to be interviewed, because I thought, oh my gosh, if I get interviewed, I'm going to jinx myself. So I'm just going to like hang out in the back, not say anything. So I didn't say a word. I just like hung out. But I can remember thinking, they had the car there, and everyone was standing on the car, and they were taking pictures. And I remember that there were people, other contestants, sitting inside the car because it was really cold that morning, and they were eating donuts in the car. And I had the conscious thought of, these people are eating donuts in my car. They're getting my car dirty. And I remember being like a little bit like upset about that. Like, have some manners. You're eating in my car, you know. So silly and so ridiculous. So anyway, it came down to the final two people, and it was me and this other girl. And I remember looking at her and telling her, good luck. You know, and like genuinely good luck, because this is the thing, like, even if I didn't win the car, yeah, that would be a bummer, but still, it's someone else winning a car. That's pretty amazing. And so if I didn't win it and she did, like, that's still really cool. So, I mean, you know, I wanted to wish her good luck. And she turned and looked at me, and instead of saying something like, you know, oh, thanks, or good luck back, or, you know, same to you, or whatever, she just kind of looked at me kind of like weird. I was like, thanks. And right then, in that moment, I knew that that was it. The car was mine. Like, I had put out the good. I had believed it was mine. I had extended, you know, that feeling of well wishes to her. And then just in that moment, I didn't even need to, like, they didn't even need to draw a name. Like, I just knew that that was my car, and I was taking it home. So anyway, when it got down to the very end, the reverse drawing stopped, and it was whoever's name they drew, that was the winner of the car. And I remember the girl pulled the name out, and she, like, looked down, and she would not look at me. And I knew right then, too, like, I knew if she looked at me, she would smile. And so she had her head down, and I just knew. And so then they said my name, and, you know, then it was, like, all exciting, and I won the car, and they, like, filmed it, and then they ended up making a commercial that was, like, on TV, and everybody kept saying how they, like, saw me on TV winning this car. It was really exciting. So for those of you who don't know, when you win a car, you do have to pay the taxes on it. But if you win the car, like, I didn't have money laying around to pay the taxes on it, because I just had a baby, and I wasn't working, and we were on, like, one income, and we just had a car stolen, and just bad. So the car comes from a dealership. So when you win a car, you don't get to, like, get in your car and drive it home. You have to go down to the dealership, and then they offer you either the car, money for the amount that that car is valued at, or a car of equal value. Or if you wanted something more expensive, you could get something more expensive, but you just have to pay the difference. I wanted that car. Like, that was my car. That was the car I visualized. That was the car I manifested. That was my car. So when they offered me all this stuff, I was like, no, I'm taking that silver Scion. That's mine. And so what they do is, since it's through a dealership, and I didn't have the money to pay the taxes, like, right then, they just finance the car, essentially. So they don't finance the amount of the car, but they use the car as collateral to finance the couple $1,000s that it was for taxes. So it was actually really easy. It was pretty slick. It was super cool. And I love that thing. That was the best car. I drove that thing all over the place. I loved it. Sadly, it did get into a car accident. I was driving to yoga, and I had a kid rear-end me, you know, but it was a paid-off car, so when that happened, you know, I was able to get the insurance payout for, like, the full amount of the car, so it was okay. But it was still kind of sad, because I really, really love that car. But anyway, I just wanted to come on here, and I know I do mostly tarot readings, but I wanted to take a moment just to talk a little bit about the law of attraction. I'm obviously a big believer in the law of attraction, and you know, I hear people say all the time, you know, I'm not lucky, I don't win things. We have a lot of casinos around where I live, and people will say, I'm not a big gambler, and I'm not, like, a proponent of gambling, but I'll hear people say, like, oh, I don't go to the casino because I always lose. And it's like, well, yeah, you always lose, because if you say you always lose, you're always going to lose. you know. My mom is one of those people where she loves to go to the casino, and she doesn't do it as much anymore, but like she would go, like when she'd go on vacation to Vegas, she would always call me up and be like, oh, I won $2,000, I won like $5,000, I won tickets to a show, and my mom has the mindset, when I play, I win. And so whenever she plays, she wins, right? It's just, you know, it's crazy. It's the mindset. It's the mindset that we keep, and it's the story that we tell ourselves. And so, I guess my tip would be, if you want to win a car, um, set the intention, put the intention out there, and then just visualize it. You know, visualize yourself in that car, how you're going to feel, what kind of music you're going to listen to, what the weather's going to be like, you know. And yeah, it happens. It happens. So yeah, if you guys like this story, let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section that you like these story time videos, or that you want more law of attraction videos, or if you just want me to stick to tarot reading and get my face off the camera and put my hands back in with my cards, I can do that too. So just let me know kind of what content you guys are looking for, and that's it. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you liked it, go ahead and subscribe, and I think that's it. Have a good day. See you next time. Bye.